So in today's class, let us learn about architecture of database management system. There are different types of architecture available in database management system, like one-tier architecture, two-tier architecture, and three-tier architecture. And first, let us learn what is database architecture. So it describes how the data in the database is viewed by different types of users at different levels. And let us see regarding one-tier architecture. So in one-tier architecture, it involves putting all of the required components for a software application or technology on a single server or platform. So here, what happens here is user is directly sitting on the DBMS and uses it. Because so when the database is created, by the time of its creation, there will be no users. So its functionality and its usages, everything has to be viewed by the same person who is designing the database management system or who is designing the database. That's why we say user directly sits on DBMS and uses it. So the user is not someone else. So who is creating the database, he himself is a user. So that's why we say in the case of one-tier architecture, user will be the database designer. He directly sits on DBMS and uses it. He is not sitting somewhere and using it. He is actually where the database is residing. So in that location only he is viewing that information, right? So here any changes done will be directly on DBMS itself. So if you are going to do any modification to the database, that will be directly done on the database management system itself. That's why we say it does not provide any handy tools for end users. Right, as I told you, there will be no other users except the database designer. So that is why it is not providing any handy tools for end users. As in the case of other architecture, you are supposed to provide the tools for the end users. So here, the reason is why we are not providing these handy tools is that there will be no user at all. So that's why we are not providing any handy tools for the end user. The next type of architecture is two-tier architecture. As we seen in the one-tier architecture, there will be only one component, that is database management system. So user will be directly sitting on that and working on it. So there will be no other user. But as in the case of two-tier architecture, there will be two levels. So one is client, another is server. In this model, database is stored in a computer called as server, and you can find a client as well. So who will be the user or an application who is using the application program which is stored on another computer. So they are called as client. You will find two types of user. So one is a server who is providing the details, another is client who is getting the details. So that's why we call it as two-tier. Okay. The client normally what he generates, he will generate a request to the database. I want these details, that will be conveyed to the server. Then finally the server processes the query and returns the output to that particular client. For example, in Google, so you will search for some details. You type data processing cycle and you click on search. So you are doing at the client end. So server takes that input and it will process. Output will be several links to that particular, to any particular website. Okay, so this is how the data two-tier architecture works. So here, what we do is we will create an interface called as ODBC. The abbreviation of ODBC is Open Database Connectivity. That will provide an API, application program interface, that allows client-side program to call the DBMS. So with the help of this API, we can give the query to the server, and server processes your information and gives the output. So for this, you need to have an interface called as ODBC that provides this API, application program interface. Through that, you are calling the DBMS, or you are asking the question to the database management system. That is how the two-tier architecture works. Now, this is three-tier architecture. As the name indicates, you will find three levels. The first level, the bottom level, you call it as database tier, where the actual database resides on it. In the middle, you will find application tier. This will act as interface between the user and the database, and the presentation tier where the regular users sitting on it and using the database. So user will not be knowing anything further. His layer is not knowing about any database management system or database beyond his level of thinking. He's thinking only I am giving the input and I want output. But actually, complexity lies in this. See here, we can say each data is independent from each other. That this is called as data independence. So if any modification done at one level will not have any effect in the other level. So I have explained all the three layers here, what it contains, three-tier architecture. Here you will have a database. Here you will have a database management system, and here you will find the end users. Normally, it is used for web applications. So whenever we are searching some information, definitely that will use the database management system as well as database. So that will use the three-tier architecture. So in the usage of web application, we find this uh, importance of three-tier architecture, and it is most widely used architecture to design the database management system, which allows any one of the three tiers to be upgraded or replaced independently. As I said, it is not dependent on one each other. You can upgrade any levels without harming the other level. So you can update the database tier, you can update the middle presentation tier or middle tier, whatever. So that is completely independent from each other. As I told you, there are three levels, three tiers in three-tier architecture. Right? In database tier, that database resides along with its query processing language. Query processing language could be like SQL or Sybase or any other such programming languages, query processing languages. So in the database tier, you will find database along with its query processing language. Okay, here you will find the database. In the middle tier, or I can call it as application tier, in this tier, you will find at this tier reside the application server and the programs that access the database. Of course, you need to have a server to process these queries. So in the application tier, you will find the application server as well as the program that access the database. Okay, this will act as an interface between user and the database. So this is just a medium between these two levels, right? Finally, you will find user or presentation tab. Normally, end users operate on this tab, and they do not know nothing about any existence of the database beyond this layer. So at this level, you will not be knowing what is the capacity of database, or is knowing nothing about existence of the database beyond this layer. We don't know anything about that, where it is stored, how it is stored, what is the capacity of the server or the database. Will not be knowing anything. So this tier is called as user or presentation tier. This may ask in the examination, write a note on one tier architecture or two tier architecture or three tier architecture for 3 marks. Now let us see regarding database model. First, let us understand what is database model. You know what is database? Now let us understand what is database model. Database architecture is different, database model is different. So what is database model? Database model defines the logic design of the data. So how it is logically designed. Describes the relationship between different parts of the data as well. So how it is related from one database to another database. There are different models are there. Okay, so as I told you, it defines the logical design of the database. These models are commonly used. The types of different models are hierarchical model, network model, and relational model. Let us see one by one. What is hierarchical model, what is network model, and what is relational model. Okay, we can see in a diagram. So this will be looks like a hierarchical model. So as we can see, it looks like a top-down design. So this is the oldest form of model. So nowadays, we are not at all using this type of model, but we need to understand what is hierarchical model. Here, the model organizes the data in tree-like a structure. Okay, as you've seen in the previous diagram, it is modeled or it is designed in the form of a tree-like a structure, and this uses one-to-many relationship for data elements. As we learned in the data structure chapter, as the tree contains only one-to-many relationship. The same applies here. Like from one node, we can have many child nodes, one to many. But you cannot have one many to one or many to many. You can have one to one. So normally hierarchical in the sense you need to have one to many relationship. Okay, so normally you'll have one to one or one to many relationship. So idea behind hierarchical database model is it is useful for certain type of data storage, but as I told you, it is not extremely versatile. That's why you will not find this type of model nowadays. Next type of model is network model. It is powerful comparing to the previous model, but looks like very complicated. See here, it is not one to many, it is many to many. From here, you can go into this, or you can go to this, or you can go to this. So again, to this, you can come from any other table as well. So it is looking like a many to many relationship, not like a tree. It looks like a graph. In data structure chapter, we have learned about graph as well. This looks like a graph. You will have many to many relationship. So it is a very flexible approach to representing objects and their relationship. Though it is flexible, it is very confusing. As I told you, it is powerful and bit of complicated. This looks like a graph. The relationship types are arcs and object types are nodes. See, it is. This is the relation between this table and this table. How the relationship is established through the arcs. You will have multiple relationship, many to many relationship. Okay, this is represented using arc and this is represented using entities. Each table is represented using entities. Relationship types are arcs and object types are nodes. But still, it is not in use nowadays. So nowadays, whatever the database model we are having, that will be called as relational model. So in the case of hierarchical model and network model, you need to have physical links between different tables, like a cable or any sort of other communication medium. You need to have a physical links between different tables, so that only you can have a communication between any two tables. But in relation model, you will not be having any physical links, you will have a logical link. So how the logical link is established, you can understand from this diagram. Suppose if I consider these two tables, these two tables are linked. How it is linked? By having common attribute, common column in both the tables. If you see, this is the table department having a column called as number. So this is department number. You will have one finance department, two HR department, three sales department, four purchase department, one, two, three, four. Or in the case of student or college, it will be like number one, physics, number two, chemistry, number three, mathematics, number four, computer science. So you will have a professor table. For example, physics professor's information you are going to enter. maybe 1 to 1 100 number, professor number. This is professor number. Name, the professor name is given here, for example, Ramesh Babu. Department number, now you are supposed to enter any number out of this 1 2 3 4. For a physics it is 1, so 1 is given. So this is how you are going to link. We're not giving any other values here, so department number, right? Again, if I consider these two tables, so here you need to write course number. In the course table, you are having a number. So for physics, you will say number one. Again, department number is one. That is also linked to this. You can have a link to this. Professor ID, can get it from here. Unit, how many units are there? Chapters are there? You can mention that. So how the relationship is established? Now we need to understand how the relationship is established by having common attribute. Right? This type of model will be called as relational model. So in this model, data is organized in terms of two-dimensional tables. Right? We know what do you mean by tables? Called as relations. So this is how it is organized. As I told you, there will be no physical links like other models such as relational model, such as hierarchical model or network model. So there will be no physical links. Then how the link is established? By having the common attribute. So here each row represents an entity, okay, and column represents an attribute. You need to understand here each row will be called as entity. Already we know that it will be called as tuple as well. You can call it as entity as well as here. So each row represents an entity and column represented as an attribute. Here the relationship between two tables are implemented through the common attribute we have seen in the previous diagram. So how the two tables are related in relational model. Okay. And finally, we need to understand what are the main highlights of this model. So this model is very important. So nowadays, whatever the database you are using, that will be following this relational model. That's why nowadays database management system will be called as not just database management system, not just as DBMS, it will be called as RDBMS. So what is the abbreviation of RDBMS? Relational Database Management System, RDBMS. So for qualifying it as RDBMS, it has to qualify certain rules. There is a rule called as CORT rules. There are around 12 to 13 rules are there. At least 9 rules you need to follow. If it follows at least 9 rules, then it will be called as RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Now let us see what are the different main highlights of these models one by one. Now the data is stored in tables. We call the tables as relations. See, we have given one more name to the table. We have given another name to the row as tuple, column as attribute. Similarly, we have given another name for table called as relations. Next onwards, you will call the table as relation, student relation, department relation, course relation, etc. The relations can be normalized. There are different normalization method, 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, BCNF and all. So it can be normalized. Why normalization is required? To reduce the duplications. As I told you, one of the advantage of database management system is redundancy control. So these redundancy controls can be done by normalizing the tables or normalizing the relations. So if you are having RDBMS, relations can be normalized. Normalized relation values saved are atomic values. There will be no duplications. There will not be much duplication. Each row in a relation contains a unique value. As I told, if the first row is containing some information, and at some row, again you are not duplicating that item. It should be unique from row to row. So each row in a table contains a unique value, and each column in a relation contains a values from a same domain. So normally, as I told you, when you are giving department number, So already we have mentioned in some other table, department numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 for physics, 2 for chemistry, 3 for mathematics, 4 for computer science. So what is your domain? 1 to 4. In the column, you are supposed to write either 1, 2, 3 or 4. You cannot mention it as 5 because there is nothing like 5. I have already mentioned only 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is physics, 2 is chemistry, 3 is mathematics, and 4 is computer science. So normally in most of the cases, each column in a relation contains values from the same domain. For example, you are entering roll numbers. So what is the domain? 220001 up to 220171. So that is the domain. So between any values between 001 to 171 can be entered in the column. So it has to be from the same domain. So these are the different main highlights of the relational model.